Hi guys, welcome back to Sports Media Pod. My name is Drew Finnerty, and I have my co-host over here.
Joe Antonucci, how you doing?
And today we got some questions from the audience here about Giants fan and like what it's like to be a Giants fan. So the first one is, how did you guys become a Giants fan? I'll let Joe answer this one first.
Um, yeah, it's pretty simple. I think a lot of people come up this way. My grandfather was a Giants fan, so he raised my dad to be a more of a New York sports fan, all types of New York teams. And then my dad did the same thing with me. Took me to games when I was a little kid, and I played sports. I played, baseball, basketball, football. So I just love sports. And, watching the Giants on TV, I fell in love with watching them and them as a team. So yeah, it's pretty simple. I feel like a lot of people are probably brought up that way. They're rooting for their local teams. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I got like I kind of have like the same story like you said. Like, yeah, my grandpa was a Giants fan, and like all of New York in general, like the Knicks and everything. My dad was, and like just growing up, I was watching the games with my dad, and yeah, became a Giants fan. So the next question is, when did you guys first start watching most of the games? So like, I'm gonna take this one first. So I first started probably around Odell Beckham. He's the player that really got me into watching the Giants, and that was about I think 2015, 2016 ish. Just him as a rookie, like just like you guys, everyone knows who he is, like the one-handed catch and everything. Like I don't know what it was about him, but just watching him play just got me so into watching the Giants. And yeah, I mean I watched them in the Super Bowl in 2012, but like I really wasn't paying attention, and I was just a kid, so like I wasn't that locked into it.
Yeah, I got a similar answer. Obviously you want to say you were watching during the Super Bowls when you're a little kid, but you don't really remember that much.
Yeah.
Um, I remember my family had a huge Super Bowl party in 2012 when they won. And I could, pull like bits and pieces out, but I'm not gonna be like, oh, on this play, this happened or whatever. So yeah, probably around the same time, like OBJ when he was like first couple years in his prime. It was just really cool to see, and then those games were just really entertaining, and they weren't, crazy good. Like they didn't win a Super Bowl or anything when he was there, but that's kind of when my fandom probably started the most.
All right. So now we have these questions here that deal with like kind of the emotions of being a Giants fan. So this one, I'll let you answer this one first, Joe. It says, "Can you describe the range of emotions you experienced during a Giants season?" And we'll just say like we'll just go with last season to make it easy.
Yeah, I'll start off by saying, most people, most fans, they love. I feel like we're spoiled as Giants fans. We think we have it so bad, but like they would love to say they have two Super Bowls in the last like 15, 16 years. Um, I just feel like it seems like they've made like a deal with the devil that like, hey, you win these two Super Bowls, you're gonna stink for the next decade. um, so it's been rough, these past probably like 10 years watching this team. They just have not really been able to form a sense of anything. They don't win games. They don't compete for the division. These past few years, it's been like they're out of it after week three, week four, and these games become unwatchable. You don't even like you'd rather just turn on any other NFL game, red zone, whatever, and not watch the Giants. So I hope that eventually turns. I hope that that tide is turning soon. But these past 10 years or so have been rough as a Giants fan.
Yeah, I completely agree. So like usually how the season goes is in the beginning of the year, like I'm all hyped up about the team. I'm like kind of like, oh wow, like kind of delusional in a sense. Like, wow, we actually have something going. We might be good this year. And usually after the first game or so, you could just tell like how the season's gonna go. The next question here is, what's the highest high you felt as a Giants fan, and what made it so special?
It's a good question. The highest high. Hmm, I don't even want to say it was this recent playoff win, just because I kind of knew where they were at as a team. Like they went on with Jones. Had a good year. They won a lot of close games. They beat the Vikings in the first round, but I kind of knew that that team wasn't capable of making a run. That was a nice win. It was nice to see them get back in the playoffs and win a game like that. I would say the highest high for me is just like again those OBJ years. They weren't great. They made the playoffs that one year when they lost to the Packers in the wild card round. But those are probably just those games are just super fun to watch. He was just an awesome player. So those are probably my highest highs as a Giants fan up until this point.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with actually that most recent playoff win against the Vikings. I don't know, something about Daniel Jones winning that game. It just felt so good because again, nobody thought the Giants would win a game. Like the Vikings were one of the best teams in the regular season, and I don't know, just seeing that team, like they played like a really good team that year, and it just made me feel good and looking forward to next year after we lost. But
I guess that moment for me just kind of gets cut off because the next round they get absolutely waxed by Philly.
yeah,
Um, so, obviously in the moment it probably felt really good to beat the Vikings, and then like the next round it's like, damn, here we are again. But
yeah. So conversely, the next question is, what's been the lowest low? And yeah,
lowest low, there's a lot of them you could probably choose from. I would probably say not this past year, but 2 seasons ago. Like you said before, you get all hyped up for regular season. NFL's coming back, summer's over, school's kicking in. You got something to look forward to. The summer's ending. You're like, damn, what do we got? We got football. We got Giants football. They played the Cowboys week one, and it's just murder, just murder. They lose like 40-0 or something like that.
and
Um,
that was the year after they beat the Vikings in the playoffs, right? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You had some high hopes. You were feeling good, and obviously, every year I don't care. Like this year, I'll be excited for the Giants to come and play. I don't have high expectations, but you always feel ready to go for week one. And that was just bad. It was really bad, and it kind of set the tone for the whole entire season. I don't think they really recovered from that point.
yeah, I mean that's a good one. That's like a good because yeah, that was pretty low. I mean that year we expected to be like make another run and we just get demolished first game of the season. I mean yeah, that was rough. I mean yeah, that's probably the same for me. I could also go. It was when they took a knee. They did like a QB sneak actually on like a 3rd and 20,
On
and that
like
was I believe
5 run.
was that Joe Judge that was
Yeah, that was Joe Judge. They were on like their own five, and they
yeah.
like took like a knee or something
Took
like
a knee
that.
on a third down in the middle of a game, and that like just seeing the team give up like that, and like the coaches give up, just like as a fan, and I can't even imagine for like the players how low like they felt in that locker room because that was just humiliating, and everyone was making fun of them for it.
I also just feel like these past few years have been low. It's like we're just throwing out random guys like Tyrod Taylor and Tommy DeVito. Like, yeah, sometimes they're fun to watch, and it's a little different than what we had in Jones. But we haven't even really been able to put like a finished product on the field, which is like so discouraging when you see everyone like the Redskins, or Commanders, they turned it around pretty quickly when they drafted Jaden Daniels, someone who you might have had potentially a chance to draft if you wouldn't have won some games, some meaningless games at the end of the year. The Eagles obviously just won the Super Bowl, so it's like these teams in your division are playing good, they're having success of late, and like we can't even put a product out there.
Yeah, completely agree. The next question here is: have you formed any special bonds or friendships through your fandom as a Giants fan? And I'm gonna answer this one first. Uh, Definitely like I feel like watching it with like your family or whatever that creates like a nice bond and something you guys could talk to and everything. And even with your friends, like we all get together with all of our friends and for some Giants games and we watch them together and just talk about it. And I mean it's a good time. So I would say yeah, definitely formed multiple bonds over just watching football in general and the Giants.
Yeah, no, for sure. We're literally talking about them right now on this Zoom call, so obviously it's brought us together to talk about them. Um, you know, most of the time I feel like when we're talking about them nowadays, it's like we're always like, complaining about something like, oh, look what they just did, look what they just did. But it has brought us together, and there's been some very good times with my family and my friends watching the Giants. So.
Yeah. So these questions that I'm going to shift to now is some actual team related questions. The next question is: what are your hopes and expectations for the current state of the team?
Yeah, so I didn't love the move of bringing back Brian Dable, the head coach, and the general manager, Joe Shane. I understand where the ownership was coming. They wanted to have some stability. We've had a lot of new head coaches and fire-ins over the past few years, so they gave these guys another shot. I hope in this upcoming NFL draft, which I think is next Thursday, that they do take the best player available and they don't reach for a quarterback. I think the these two guys who are in charge, the general manager and the head coach, are kind of on a short leash. So I hope that they don't put their interest ahead of the team. Like, if they go out and win 4 or 5 games, they're probably done. So are they going to try to draft a quarterback at 3 who we might be reaching for just so they could win a few more games to keep their job? I hope that's not the case. I think for this upcoming season, there's not a lot to expect. I think they'll probably be kind of where they've been these past few years. But there is a lot of young pieces. Malik Neighbors we saw last year. They brought in a couple older veterans to play quarterback, which will be nice to see. Different guys than what we've had. And I think defensively that they could be very good, if put in all the right places.
Yeah, I mean, that summed it up perfectly. I mean, we don't have any really good expectations and hopes. Definitely want to take the best player available in the draft. I'm looking more towards like Travis Hunter, maybe Abdul Carter, but to be honest, I don't think we need any more pass rushers. I actually disagreed with not bringing Dable back. I think he's a good coach, and I feel like last year he didn't have anything to like work with. I mean, he had Daniel Jones, who's not even a starter anymore, and the quarterback room was just not there. And in the NFL, you do need a good quarterback. So I really don't put all the blame on him because he did his best. He worked. He did his best with what he had. So I actually thought he should have stayed and got one more year. And I think just like as a GM, you need time to like build a team and develop a team together. So I think you need a little bit more time with them.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. We'll see how it plays out here. I'm hoping that they get what they get out of Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, and maybe next year the quarterback class is a little bit deeper. Again, I understand where you're coming from, where they didn't really have much to work with. I just hope that again that they put the team's interest ahead of their own.
Yeah. And that is all the questions we have here today. I want to just say thank you to everyone that's listening to this.